on my face. And no, this is not that Sandy's messing with me at all. At all.
System like ICE expect fuck ups. The system. That's all I was trying to say to Bowen's point, and the other points, but people got upset. But you can skip me now. I'll see that.
T-Bone?
Yeah, so Val, I was just trying to give you a little bit of information on an easier, more effective way to answer all of those questions, which is that the national security apparatus post 2001 gives broad discretion in a lot of different ways to the executive branch, legislative, and so on. And so the mechanisms of law that he's using to not give her what's perceived as due process is built into these national security laws. So under the umbrella of national security, the president has large discretion to see people out of the country. As an example, what is this technically? This is technically an invasion, and so it can be treated as such. When you have 30 to 60 million people in your country illegally, uninvited, undocumented, unaccountable, and unaccounted for, that is an invasion of the highest order, and so it can be treated like that under national security. So when people bring up, why is it being expedited? Why are they not getting their rights? Well, rights are given to American citizens. The laws were written for you and I. They weren't written for the globe, everyone on earth. No, they were written for you and I to be protected in the case of national security against people who might invade, against people who might want things to not go well for us. And so I think you'd be better served, Val, in really honing your responses into knowing those laws. If you want to know the particulars, there's about
One second, Memphis, before you go. If you don't come up here on that bullshit, all right? Don't come up here saying any of that crazy hoorah bullshit. We're not on that type of time. If you're not going to engage in the conversation, bow out. Respectfully.
I'm ready to engage in the conversation
Go ahead.
with the utmost respect. Okay. Yeah. So those are some great points Robert was bringing up, and it helps to contextualize because a lot of people assume that, if somebody all of a sudden, we have a special deal with Cubans, but for everybody else, if they touch our soil, all of a sudden they become American citizens with the same rights and protections that are given to citizens that have been here for generations, and that's just not the case. In fact, if you even look at specifically the Naturalization Act of 1790, it specifically says that immigration should be limited to free white people of good moral character. That's the verbiage used. So that's Naturalization Act of 1790. So there was never a time when the founding fathers would have looked at somebody like Ashley or on birthday and been like, yeah, that's who I want in my country. And I mean, a lot of people will bring up things like, well, I'm born here. Well, if a mouse is born in a stable, it'll never be a horse. It'll never be a Clydesdale. So what you see in the differences when, people on birthday are complaining about the system and this, that, and the other, they're really just looking at a reflection of their contribution to a portion of the country that is subpar, that just does not measure up. And unfortunately, that's just that's demonstrative and observable no matter where they are.
This is
well said. Well said.
Thank you.
No, that was very based.
Well, one thing you all keep talking about is that the laws don't apply to everyone. Like there's the rights. And first of all, I would say the law we operate under is called the law of the land. It's the law of the land that we live on. For instance, if an immigrant comes here and commits a crime, they're going to get locked up. Even if they're not citizens, they still have to abide by the law of the land that they're a part of. So that same thing should apply to rights. If you have to apply to the laws, right, why would you not get the rights thereof if you have to apply to those same laws? So it seems inconsistent to be like, well, you have to apply the laws, but you don't get any of the rights.
In particular, this was addressed by a lot of the laws that are being used and discussed on immigration in particular. As an example, the author of the 14th, which is birthright, or what has been understood as birthright citizenship, it had at nauseum wrote about and cautioned against the law being used the way it currently is, and even inserted a portion of the law to say jurisdiction thereof. And you can kind of go and read up on it. But what that means is that when you get here, the position of geography alone is not enough to justify your citizenship. It has to be jurisdiction thereof, which implies, and this has been constitutionally written about, the Supreme Court has had many rulings on it. It implies that you have an allegiance to. Jurisdiction thereof has an implicit meaning of allegiance to. And so what that means is that if you're from any foreign government at all, the allegiance to cannot be implied. It's not there. And so it's a good question, but it was very specifically addressed when all of these laws were even being written for the first time.
The issue is that, like he just said, when these laws were being written, they were for white people and white people only. And so we have to also understand that obviously all these laws have to be looked at with a different frame of view, different point of view. Would you agree with that?
On how you want the country to look?
Or do you think that black people and black citizens and Latino citizens should also now be excluded because they weren't originally included in these laws?
Well, what I would say is it really depends on what you see for America. If you want America to look like Africa, then there's that path.
What does that mean? In what way?
Well, I'm going to refrain from calling it a shithole, but it's not like
I'm going to refrain from doing what I just did, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's not like it is here. It's very different. It's a little bit, you'd say, backwards. They don't have the same systems. It's not the same place. And so if we want the outcomes to be that we let our borders get flooded with people who are not of us, and that includes you in today's context, then that has a reality. But I think all of us really actually understand that we can't let our borders get flooded. We can't let everyone in. And culturally, that would degrade the things that you and I and everyone in the United States holds dear.
I have a question.
Well, one, I would say I'm pretty sure you've never been to Africa, so you probably shouldn't speak on continents that you've never been to.
I was there last week.
He's just there last week.
I was there last week.
That's what I was. Can I ask a question, please?
Go ahead.
That's what I was going to ask. Even after you just visited Africa, you still have that opinion?
Oh, Val, now more than ever do I feel it's horrifying. And I'm not kidding. The entire experience was wonderful in that it's Mount Kilimanjaro, great, but it is a lawless land. They are very different, and no one here would appreciate their way of life. No one here would want to live their way of life. It is a slum of the highest order.
It didn't look like a slum where you were staying. It didn't look like a slum.
That was Egypt.
Well, he's in a tourist area.
Where is Egypt?
Where is Egypt?
In Africa.
Egypt.
Not sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone always loves to point to
gosh.
Egypt. It's on the bridge of worlds, guys. So Egypt is exceptionally different because it is adjacent to your Middle East, which is the bridge of worlds. Okay, it is not in essence of Africa. And to be certain, we should all know this and say this because it doesn't help people in Africa to say, oh, there's nothing to see there. They're doing wonderful. They're thriving. No, to help them, you have to know the issues and talk about them as it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's like saying, looking at Cape Town in the 1990s and being like, oh, Africa's just like Europe. No, because where the Africans are. The reason why Cape Town, Johannesburg is nice is because Afrikaners, white Europeans, built a first world civilization there. They gave it away to Nelson Mandela, and now it's a third world shithole.
Yeah, no, it's terrifying and it's sad. And I think you guys really don't know what you're saying. So like if we really did just let our borders get flooded with people from Africa, this includes people from Asia, this includes Arabs. Like if we let the culture of our country, let it be subject to these external forces, this country would dismantle as quick as can be, and it would be a hellscape.
Yeah, a lot of people they operate under this idea that there's like such thing as magic soil. Like all of a sudden, the reason why Switzerland is because it's magic soil. The reason why Switzerland is because it's occupied by Swiss people. If I took the population of Port-au-Prince and put it in Zurich, and took the population of Switzerland